going to get the opportunity to see about improving how we optimize our liquid feed systems, how we manage our suckling pigs, how we manage newly weaned pigs from a nutritional point of view. So all that whole area on the nutrition side. If you look at the other areas, the health, the environment, etc. So there's going to be a lot of practical research there based on the challenges that the industry are facing that can be applied at farm level. So it's practical and hopefully will result in saving money and improving profitability on farms.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Pig Edge, Teagasc Pig podcast with me, Amy Quinn, where we are bringing you the latest news, information and advice to keep Irish pig farmers up to date. The Teagasc Pig Open Day is just around the corner, taking place in Teagasc Moorepark Fermoy, County Cork at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, May 9th, and in Ballyhaise Agricultural College, Ballyhaise, County Cavan at 10 a.m. on Thursday, May 11th, where the Pig Development Department will be showcasing the results of the comprehensive research programme undertaken here in Teagasc, giving you the chance to interact with our researchers, advisors and postgraduate students. With this being a brand new event, I'm joined by a familiar face, Ciarán Carroll, Head of Knowledge Transfer in the Teagasc Pig Development Department, and I first asked Ciarán to tell us how exactly it's different to what we've previously had before.
What we had before, I suppose, we titled it the Research Dissemination Day, or the RDD, and that basically ran along similar format to the way the pig farmers conferences would run in October. So we had two venues, usually Moorepark or Horse and Jockey, and then another venue up in the Cavan area, where the researchers and students would go through a series of presentations with the farmers and then answer questions afterwards. So it was kind of a lecture format, if you want, where they were talking to the farmers and waiting for the questions to kind of come back. So what we have now is the Pig Open Day. It's been retitled, rebranded. So it's going to be a much more kind of an interactive day. And I suppose we learned this from an end of project we did a number of years ago, where we had a more interactive day with disseminating the research advice. So basically there's going to be several research stations or several themed stations at different locations in the Moorepark building and up in Ballyhaise and the Ballyhaise buildings up there. The researchers and students will be there to meet and greet the farmers and talk them through their research and their research findings. They'll use visual aids and props and things like that to help to explain the research and its findings. So it's going to be a much more interactive structure and more opportunity for the farmers and the staff to get involved and ask questions of the researchers and students there and then, and visually see what kind of items were used and what was used in the project, so they can relate to it a bit better. There's also going to be a kind of I won't call it a walkthrough, but kind of a visit to the new building we're building here in Moorepark, a low emissions, high welfare building. So we'll get an opportunity to see that and hear from Tomás Ryan, from the farm manager, about what's going on there and some of the researchers and advisors of what's planned to do in that building. And for those coming to Moorepark, they'll see that, but for those coming to Ballyhaise, they will get a virtual video clip of what the new building is like, and Tomás Ryan will also be there to do a Q&A with farmers that might have questions on what that building is, how it will be used.
It sounds like quite an interactive event, really.
Yeah, very much more, and we seem to. That's the feedback we're getting, and as we go through these kind of interactive sessions ourselves, you get a lot more where there's a bit more to and fro and a bit more, I suppose, closeness between the farmer and the researcher or student, and that it's more informal than a lecture theatre type structure. Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about some of the key research that will be on show on the day?
If you look at what are the key areas that any research organisation would be working on at the moment in pig production, we'd be looking at areas of nutrition, health, welfare, the environment, and pig husbandry management, I suppose. So the different research areas, as I mentioned earlier, there's going to be themed stations. So there'll be stations such as improving the pre and post weaning management and nutrition of pigs, managing the pig environment, managing diseases, grower finisher management and nutrition, and then there'll be a sustainability themed area as well. So if I would just go through a few of those and what farmers can expect and their staff can expect to see on the day. So under the improving pre and post weaning management and nutrition, there's going to be opportunity to meet the Padder Lawler and his team of students there on the liquid supplementation to suckling pigs and to newly weaned pigs. So they've installed a system in Moorepark where they're looking at liquid creeps and liquid milks supplements for piglets. So you'll hear all about the research findings they've had to date on those. There'll also be information there on optimizing liquid feed. 60% of pigs in the country are probably fed on liquid feed systems. So how do we optimize that? So there'll be information on that. And then in terms of of nutrition, probiotics as a sow feed additive. There'll be something on that. If we move then on to another one of the stations, for example, the managing the pig environment. So there'll be the whole area of enriched sow housing, which is quite interesting. There's research done on a commercial farm as well as in Moorepark, where they enrich the housing through extra enrichment, rubber mats and things like that, and how that worked, and the pros and cons of that type of a housing and what you can expect to gain from that. There'll be information on environmental enrichment opportunities and what has been done in Moorepark and on research projects, and there'll be an update on one well pig project as well. Moving on then to the whole health area. So, okay, what have we faced in health in the last number of years? Well, last year we had zinc oxide being banned as a feed additive, and we had newer regulations coming in on the use of antibiotics and critically important antibiotics in pig production. So there's an amount of research being done in that over the last few years in anticipation of those regulations coming in. So there'll be updates and information on those. And there will also be some health stations that Teagasc are running in conjunction with Animal Health Ireland, Carla Gomez and Animal Health Ireland, where they're going to present messages that need to be, I suppose, disseminated out to farms, health messages, but they're doing it in different formats. So there'll be an infographic, there might be a standard operating procedure, or even cartoons, and seeing what farmers, get interactive with the farmers and asking them and their staff, what do they think is the best way of getting a message across. So they'll have examples of these props, these infographics, SOPs and cartoons, and see what message hits home with the farmer and their staff best. And then in the whole management area, there's some very interesting work there that's been done by Elisa Arnaud, one of our PhD students working with Patter, on analgesic treatment of sows post-farrowing and the impact that has had on piglet growth and antibiotic usage. Really interesting information. Some of you might have seen it through the newsletters, but yeah, that's well worth hearing about. There'll be some work done on feeder space. You know, if we increase feeder space and feeder access to piglets, how does that impact on performance? And then the whole area of split suckling is probably something that's been done with many years on a lot of farms. Are we doing it right? Does it work? Those kind of things. So lots of different information on the key areas of research that we're working on at the moment.
Yeah, lots there. If you were to pull out some of the key benefits for farmers and staff in particular, what would they be?
So the key benefits, I suppose, are the opportunity to meet the researchers and the students. Okay, you're getting face-to-face time with them. It's not that we hide them away. They do come to meetings and workshops and discussion groups and things like that. But it is an opportunity that you don't get that often for farms and staff to come in, meet the researchers and students, find out exactly what they've been doing, how they go about their business, and importantly, what the findings are, and are they of any benefit to the farms when they go back home. So it's going to be up-to-date information on the latest research that I've outlined, work that we've done both in Moorepark and on commercial farms, and that always strikes home with farmers as well. Okay, that's fine doing it down in Moorepark in a research setting, but you know, does it work on a commercial farm? And we've done a lot of our research on commercial farms now as well, so we'll be able to disseminate that message and how it has applied and worked on farms. It'll be obviously an opportunity to see the new building if you come to Moorepark, or to see the virtual clip and talk to Tomas Ryan if you're in Ballyhaise on what the new building is and how it will be used. And look, it's a social opportunity as well. It's an opportunity to network and meet your colleagues and peers in the industry for the farms and staff, to meet people that they don't get that many chances. You have the Pig Conference in October, you have the Pig Health just gone a couple of weeks ago, and now you have the Pig Open Day. So it's a networking chance to have a social chat with fellow farmers and see what's happening on their farms, what they're doing, and you'll learn, as well as learning from the research, you'll learn from meeting other farmers as well. And I suppose from our point of view, it's an important opportunity for the farmers to give feedback on the research program. So they'll be able to tell us, yeah, I like this, I didn't like that. Why aren't you doing a bit of work on that? Is there some other areas that we could be working on? So it's an opportunity for them to give feedback on what they would like, and for us to hear it and take that on board when we're planning our program. How
beneficial do you think it will be for farm staff in particular to come to this?
I think it's critical that farm staff should come. Like it's fine. It's like Chinese whispers if you want. So I go to a meeting and then I tell you about it, and you're getting what I heard at the meeting, but maybe not what you might have heard if you were there yourself. So I think it's essential. And the format we have is going to be short and snappy, starting 10 o'clock in the morning to be over by lunchtime. You get to meet the researchers, students, ask them your questions, hear what they have to say, and move on to the next stand. So they will get a lot from it, I think. And I think it's important that now is the time, plan ahead a few weeks away, that the farm managers and owners could organise the time so that they can let the farm staff and get them to go to and encourage them to go to it in some cases, encourage them to go and see what can be learned, what they can bring back. It's not often that you get the chance to see how practical research can be applied on the farm. And you never know, some of the farm staff might come back and have seen something that you might have missed yourself.
There are a number of challenges facing the industry currently. In what way do you feel the Research on Show at the Open Day will address this?
Yeah, so look, what are the challenges? We've come through 18, 19 months of a financial crisis brought about by very high feed prices and lower pig prices. So we all know nutrition, feed, it's 70% of our production costs. So research on nutrition is critical importance to any producer. So you're going to get the opportunity to see about improving how we optimize our liquid feed systems, how we manage our suckling pigs, how we manage newly weaned pigs from a nutritional point of view. So all that whole area on the nutrition side. If you look at the other areas that I mentioned at the start, the health, the environment, etc. So on the health, we're going to hear, as I mentioned, what can we do in terms of, or in the face of not having zinc oxide in our diets anymore, having less access to antibiotics, and maybe the inclusion of probiotics that might help to replace antibiotics, or even help a pig get over the period where they're not having zinc oxide in their diet anymore. From a welfare point of view, there's always an interest in welfare and what's coming down the line, and that's what we do in our research program, is try and anticipate what might be coming down the line. So they're going to get exposure to types of enrichment that are being used that may work, some that work well, some that don't work well. There'll be discussion, I'm sure, around the intact tails. Farmers will be inquiring about that. And then, information that the researchers and scientists that are there and the students that are there working on developing a risk assessment for tail biting on farms as well. There'll be an opportunity to have a chat with those people. On the environmental side, we'll see the new low emissions house, and we'll get to meet the people that will be carrying out research there. The whole thing with our national program of trying to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and things like that, it's relevant to pigs as well. Although we're low producers of greenhouse gases, we still have to be seen to be doing our bit. So there'll be opportunity to see what can we do, how can we go about, what research trials are going to be ongoing, and what findings have we on reducing emissions that will help our case as we go forward. And then other things like managing our inputs, water input. Water, we use an awful lot of water in pig production, the water footprint of pig production, things like that. And then I mentioned already on the management side, the analgesia, the split suckling, and the feeder space. So there's going to be a lot of practical research there based on the challenges that the industry are facing, that can be applied at farm level. So it's practical and hopefully will result in saving money and improving profitability on farms.
On the day, we strongly encourage feedback from the farmers and stakeholders. Why is this important to us in our research programme here?
Yeah, I kind of go back to the point I was making earlier. It's basically, it allows us, if we get this feedback, it allows us to plan for the future. So we get an idea today on a research topic, then that has to go into a process internally, if it's internal funding, or externally, if it's external funding. And all these things take time. You have to put your proposal together on paper. You have to bring in the people you want to work with. And all these things take time. So it's important to get immediate feedback from farms. We need farmers to have an input into the research we do. We need them to identify what do they want, what do they need on their farm, what are the current issues that they're dealing with on their farm that they need help with, or they'd like to find an alternative way of dealing with. And if we can get that in, we can get our proposals together and get them through the system in time to get the funding in a fairly short period of time, rather than trying to decide what we think the farmers should be working for. It's always better if the farmers are telling you, this is what we like, this is what we need. We don't need work in this area, but we do need a lot of work in that area. And we can go and plan our program accordingly then and get that feedback on that basis. And then hopefully do the research and find results that will help improve profitability, or at least save money, or avoid working on a certain thing that they may have considered was essential in the past may not be essential anymore.
You mentioned it already, but we've recently constructed a new building in the Teagasc Pig Research Facility, which will be available for viewing on the 9th and will be virtually viewed on the 11th. Can you tell us just a little bit about this building?
Yeah, so it's a new building. I suppose we'll find a proper name for it eventually. But yeah, for now we're calling it the Low Emissions High Welfare Building, based on a number of reasons and the way it's been designed. So the research obviously is going to be on lower emissions and higher welfare. So just to give you an example, if I could give you a visual description of it over the podcast here, people will see it on the day or on the 2 days. So there's both an indoor and an outdoor area. So there's an indoor area, solid floored, that the pigs will lie down in and rest in, whatever, that'll be their resting there. From that, then there's a pop hole from there into an outdoor section, and that outdoor section is comprised of a solid floor area in the feeding area. So you'll have distinct zones. You'll have the lying area inside, the feeding area outside, and then a third zone, which is going to be a slatted zone, which is the dunging area or the defecation urination area. And that channel, or that slatted channel, has a shallow tank with a scraper system in it. So it's a very shallow tank, moving away from the 6 foot, 8 foot tanks that might have been built in buildings 20, 30 years ago. Much shallower tank and a scraper system then to remove the slurry and urine on a regular basis to an outside tank, and thereby reducing the emissions. So we're investigating to see how the solid floor impacts on the welfare of the pig, how the environment of the indoor, outdoor, and the distinct functional areas, we call them, the lying area, the feeding area, and the dunging area, if they've distinct functions, does that improve pig welfare? And then at the same time, will it improve emissions and reduce emissions, I should say, to improve the carbon footprint of pig production? And then I suppose the critical thing, and the thing all farmers will be interested in, if this house is a system for the future, what's it going to cost? How am I going to afford it? How is it designed? And the to's and fro's of designing it and all that. And as I said, Tomas Rindon, our farm manager, will be there to go through that with farmers on both days, both in Moorepark at the building and then up in Ballyhaise when they watch the virtual video clip.
I'm sure that'll be a very interesting station for all attendees, really.
Yeah, it's something new. Look, and there has been a bit of talk out there in the sector about it, wondering what's going on. They're aware that we're building it from our newsletter articles. They know what's going on. So to get to see it and find out how it's going to operate, what it's going to offer to the pig sector, and critically, what it's going to cost.
Finally, just to finish up, Ciarán, we're asking people to register for this event. How do they go about doing so?
You can register for the event in advance by contacting Niamh Allen here in Moorepark. Niamh's number is 025 42457. That's 025 42457. So you can do that, or you can email Niamh. Her email address is niamh.allen@teagasc.ie. That's niamh.allen@teagasc.ie. So if you contact Niamh, you can ring her or contact her that way, or you can register online as well. There's going to be a link that will be sent out by text and email, and it's also on our website under the event section. You'll find it on our website there. You can click in there and register online as well, and Niamh will get that registration, and she'll process all that for us that end. We're also asking people to get there early. The event starts at 10 o'clock in the morning, so it's an earlier start than we've normally, our pig conferences in the past and our dissemination days in the past have always been afternoon sessions. This year we're looking to start at 10 o'clock in the morning. Senior management are going to have an opening address, short opening address at 10 o'clock, and then we'll guide the attendees through the different stations and all finishing with lunch, which will be provided at Moorepark and Ballyhaise, and a chance to network and have a chat and a bit of a social interaction and give us our feedback maybe during the lunchtime as well. So yeah, we'd encourage all farms, managers, and as I said earlier, important to get the staff there too as well. And get there early, 10 o'clock sharp, and you'll have your lunch and be home for the afternoon, get your jobs done.
Thanks, Ciarán.
Not at all, Amy. Thanks for having me.
It's safe to say there's a lot in the open day for producers, farm staff and other industry stakeholders, and really it's an event not to be missed. I'm just going to take this opportunity to reiterate that these events take place in Teagasc Moorepark Fermoy at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, May 9th, and in Ballyhaise Agricultural College at 10 a.m. on Thursday, May 11th, with a light lunch provided after the event. And we very much look forward to seeing a lot of you there, whether it be in Moorepark or Ballyhaise. And the link for this event will be in the show notes. That's it for this episode of The Pig Edge, and thanks a million to Ciarán for joining me on the show. Don't forget to listen and follow on Apple, Spotify or wherever you get your podcast from so you never miss an episode, and for more information from the Pig Development Department, go to teagasc.ie/pigs and follow us on Twitter at @teagascpigs. I'm Amy Quinn, thanks for listening.